The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Biggs, co-host of Locked On Canucks, also Canucks writer for Daily High Vancouver, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Kyle Bowen, hopping on a Sunday morning, still in the PJs, but we got to hop on because the Canucks, they're wheeling and dealing, and what else is new? Patrick Allvin always making at least a trade before the season starts, and today he trades away Tucker Poolman and his cap hit and a fourth-round pick in 2025 to the Colorado Avalanche for defenseman Erik Brannstrom, former first-round pick in the 2017 NHL draft, famously or maybe infamously part of the Mark Stone trade from Vegas to Ottawa back in the day. Lo and behold, did not develop into a top four defenseman for the Ottawa Senators. Went unqualified as a restricted free agent, signed a one-year $900,000 deal with the Colorado Avalanche in the offseason, and he impressed so much in Colorado that they decided to trade away to your Vancouver Canucks. Kyle, I'll let you give a couple thoughts to that. Good morning, buddy. How you doing?
Good morning. I got to get the F out of here, man. I got to get a haircut. Erik Brannstrom to the Canucks, Tucker Poolman to Colorado, a bit of a cap dump. I know Trevor's the math guy. That being said, Canucks fans, okay, I got to give you this spiel. And this is the real deal. This is full of that West Coast bias, okay? If we truly do believe that Patrick Allvin and Jim Rutherford, and more notably Rick Tocchet and Adam Foote and Sergei Gonchar can turn players around, we should be more excited about that possibly happening with Brannstrom over that happening with Vincent Desharnais. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm being serious. And I thought I was going to be less offensive to Desharnais and Forbert. In fact, Forbert, he kind of stole my heart the other day when he defended Kiefer Sherwood and almost beat up Darnell Nurse. That was a regular season game. Darnell Nurse would have been hurt for the whole year. That being said, I'm curious to see, again, if Foote and Tocchet can work their magic with Erik Brannstrom. Now, who knows? This guy might go to Abbotsford right away. Like, I don't think he's appealing to anyone really, but that's where my hockey mind is going, okay?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, you're looking at this trade as a cap dump, right? So, basically the math on it is Tucker Poolman had 1 year left, paying him $2.5 million. The Canucks retained $500,000 on this deal. So it's Tucker Poolman's $2 million cap hit for Erik Brannstrom's $900,000 cap hit. And again, without going too into the weeds, because we've got to keep it quick here, the Canucks do not want to operate LTIR, which they've done for a number of seasons now. And they were pretty much right up against the cap, especially after signing Kevin Lankinen to that 1 year deal about a week or so ago. With this trade, again, the Canucks right now, we'll see what they do with their final roster. But according to Puckpedia, they have about $1.1 million in cap space, $1.19 million in cap space. Again, they opened up $1.1 million of cap space with this deal. So they're really operating with about $90,000 of cap space before this trade. That's not a lot of wiggle room. And again, Kyle, you and I have talked about it time and time again. The everydayers know this team is likely to acquire a top four defenseman at some point this season. I think you and I would both be surprised if they didn't do that. Erik Brannstrom is clearly not that guy. But I think a trade like this just gives them a little bit more flexibility going into the season. Again, about $1.19 million in cap space. More will be opened up if they put other guys on IR throughout the season. But again, with Erik Brannstrom, I'm kind of curious if he's even going to make this team, to be honest. I kind of wonder if they might even send him to the AHL, like you alluded to. What do you think is the most likely outcome with Erik Brannstrom?
I feel like the Canucks would rather have Mark Friedman than Brannstrom. Just based on player type, how he fits in that room, how late it is in training camp. I wonder if they can squeeze down Brannstrom to the AHL. And here, I just went on that spiel talking about Andrew's saying he's already sent to the AHL and on waivers. Okay, so this is what I thought that was going to happen. And I know I went on that spiel talking about, maybe Adam Foote and Rick Tocchet can transform this guy into who he was supposed to be, right? Part of the Mark Stone trade was going to look so good with was going to even be like the somewhat of the replacement for Erik Karlsson, right? Doing all, you get what I'm saying? That there's all this tutelage behind him, and he turned out to be, again, a guy that's on waivers right away after a team acquires him. No surprise. No team wanted him in the offseason, okay? He really got signed by Colorado because Colorado just trying to do anything. They're trying to do the same things, recover players, trying to squeeze the best out of what they can get based on their cap punishments and their inability to do more, So I am curious to see if Talking Foot can do more with this guy if he gets a chance. But let's be honest, man, we're looking at Christian Wolanin 2.0.
Or Jack Rathbone 2.0. Like, that's something I thought about, right? You mentioned the Mark Friedman comparison, and Erik Brannstrom, as a prospect and as a young player was considered, an offensive puck moving defenseman, and the offense just never came at the NHL level. I mean, last season with Ottawa, he played a career high 76 games, had a career high 3 goals and 20 points. Wow. Had some issues with minor penalties as well, as a smaller defenseman, not able to use his physicality as much. So I think he was called with 18 minor penalty infractions last season. Our friends at Locked On sends a little player review on him. And, the guy was basically a tweener, right? I mean, he stepped up in moments. He changed his game to be a bit more defensive. But when you're asking a 5'10", 180-pound defenseman to be, more of a defensive guy, especially on a Sens team that had some offensive guns, it is an awkward fit. And it always kind of has been an awkward fit with Erik Brannstrom at the NHL level. Again, the hype, that's a hard thing to deal with, again, considering that he was a high draft pick and whatnot. But clearly with Erik Brannstrom, he is a tweener. Mm-hmm. You mentioned, Adam Foote and the coaching staff potentially having an effect on him. Look, at the end of the day, this trade was made primarily for cap reasons. That was a thought that you and I had coming into this, flash recording here. And of course, the fact that he's on waivers just kind of cements that fact as well.
Yeah, it is what it is. We tried it for 30 seconds. We tried to be nice to him. We did. We understand what this is. And there's a typical prototype for a Canucks defenseman, and Brannstrom's not that guy. Now, maybe, again, he gets sent down to Abbotsford and he falls in love with the organization, and then he truly believes that he can transform his career here, right, with Manuel Hotra, and then potentially cracking the roster somehow, some way next September, next October. But outside of all those things, this was, again, a cap dump. And just just another reminder, Trevor. And again, I got to get a haircut. I'm going to be late and have to pay $15 extra just because of this little spiel. But I like being a fan of an organization that tries to get ahead of it and tries to adapt. And you know what? They could have done this earlier too, straight up. They could have. And maybe they waited till the last minute because they really want to get the best offer available. And maybe this was the same offer they were getting a couple weeks ago, but they took it this time around. That being said, I just love how they're trying to get ahead of it. And they're looking at all the math and doing all the calculations that I can't do. But this team believes that, A, they have to make changes eventually within their roster, and B, they got to do so because they're somewhat of a contender here. And let's squeeze out every single dollar we can, okay? For real. And I appreciate that, man. Patrick Allvin, I want him to go down as the best GM in franchise history. It's not the hardest thing to do. Well, it kind of is. All you have to do is win a Stanley Cup. But his seriousness and, again, his innate ability to make sure that he's doing whatever it takes to optimize this team is so refreshing because I'm petty, I'm a Findu, and I still remember Jim Benning. Okay. Anyways, I got to go get a haircut. Okay. I'm out of here, Trevor. Okay. You do your thing. I love every single one of you watching this. Go Canucks, go. I got to get the haircut. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. One love to Erik Brannstrom. Hey, kill it with the Abbotsford Canucks. There's a Carl's Jr. in Abbotsford. Okay. There's a Carl's Jr. in Abbotsford. Enjoy yourself.
There we go. All right, Kyle. Enjoy your haircut, buddy. Look, before I get out of here, let me say a couple nice things about Erik Brannstrom because we're kind of poo-pooing on the guy. The fact that he's just a cap dump and he's on the waiver wire, which are, hey, they're both true things here. But Erik Brannstrom, he is a guy with some skill. Go YouTube his highlights. He had a nice end-to-end goal against the Tampa Bay Lightning in recent memory here. And you look at some of the fancy stats too, and this guy, has sneaky good potential in terms of offensive chance creation and pretty good stats defensively as well. Now, it comes with the caveat that he has played against weaker competition for the most part. But again, this is a guy that with some potential here, right? So it's not purely a cap dump. It is primarily a cap dump. Again, the Canucks opening up that flexibility to potentially go acquire a legit top 4 defenseman, really a number 3 defenseman at some point before the playoffs start here. Both Erik Brannstrom, look, I'm curious to see what he can do in the AHL, right? Because that's where he's going to start the season now, unless he gets claimed. Knock on wood. And I think the Canucks might be happy if he gets claimed, right? Another $900,000 cleared from their cap sheet. But if he makes it to the AHL, look, this guy hasn't played AHL games consistently since pre-COVID, which doesn't feel like that long ago, but it was a long time ago, March of 2020. Since the pandemic hit in March of 2020, the guy's played 13 AHL games, okay? He has been an NHLer. He's been a full-time NHLer with the Ottawa Senators for the last 2 seasons. And yeah, I know it was a bad defense. And yeah, I know Erik Brannstrom didn't blow anybody away. But let's just see what he can do in the AHL for your Vancouver Canucks. Now, the last wrinkle in this situation is he is a left shot defenseman, and the Canucks left side in Abbotsford, it's getting a little crunchy down there, right? You got Christian Wolanin, Guillaume Brisebois, Elias Pettersson, Kirill Kudryavtsev. You got guys down there that can play on the left side. Now Erik Brannstrom is in the mix as well. So I'm curious to see who flips to the right side, who gets knocked out of the lineup entirely. Because, we saw Kirill Kudryavtsev play on the right side in the preseason. I know Erik Brannstrom has played some right side in his past as well. But at the end of the day, the Abbotsford defense, it's getting pretty tight down there. Tight like okay, I'm not going to go there. Time to get out of here, okay? On a Sunday. Again, thanks to all you for tuning in to this abbreviated episode. Shout out to the everydayers, occasion listeners, first-time listeners, new subscribers, and those of you who join us on the live show on YouTube. Hit us up in the comments or reach out to us wherever you like to connect on social media or Pop and Cause Discord. What are your thoughts on the Erik Brannstrom trade? Can this guy become something at the NHL level? Will this guy be with another team within the next 24 hours? All of that remains to be determined. But for now, got to get out of here. Shout out to you and you and you. Shout out to Kyle. Go get that haircut, buddy. I need one too eventually, but not right now. Anyways, happy Sunday to you. Go Canucks, go. And thanks for listening to Locked On Canucks.